let's make a tea kettle. Here we have some images that might help out. So something like this is what we're aiming for. Let's go into SolidWorks. File, New, double-click Part. Choose a plane to work on. Revolve boss base. Revolve needs an axis to rotate around, so let's start with a center line. Escape. So the width of the base here, that's something that you could decide on your own, of course. If we make it, maybe we could even make like a foot instantly here. So if I go out, go in again, and out, we'll make something like that. So if we accept this now, we will have a tea kettle, but we will not know the size of it at all. So something that we need to do here is to decide for an appropriate size here. So let's say we go for the height, and if I go from the 0 point up to highest here, 100 millimeter. It's maybe a little bit tiny, so let's make it a little bit higher. So something like that. We could continue here to decide for the radius, clean up the values maybe. We could also force it to be on a certain distance from the ground here. So maybe we'll like this one to be touching. So if I shift click these two here, I could choose them to be coincident, which will not be correct. But we could also make a center line. Click the arc and shift click the center line and force them to be tangent. We could continue on here making dimensions here, which will make it easier if you would like to adjust the value. But it's not something that you are forced to do. So you could actually leave this blue if you like. So I will just leave it like that. We could always go back into the sketch again if we feel for it. In this case, we didn't get a preview of the revolve. The reason is that we have two center lines. It doesn't know which center line to rotate around. So in the blue window, we need to move in or select a center line. And we have a center line underneath here. So if I go for that one, I could accept. Okay. So we could make a handle, or we could make some other details here. So let's go for this part here. So let's continue. So if I go for a plane, for instance the right plane here, we could make a sketch there. So if I go for sketch tab, and you need to choose sketch to actually get into the sketch. Look at the corner, space bar, and I will go perspective flat. And if it flips, you might do it one more time, and then it will go from the other directions. It's up to you. Something like that. Something like that. And that's a little bit big, but we could choose escape, and then we could adjust this. Down, bring it down a little bit. Maybe something. Maybe we could have it quite tall. See how it looks like. Could be fun. Okay, so I go out from the sketch. Now I have made an elliptic sketch there in the center. So let's make another one outside here. So let's see how we could do that. Let's go for the front plane and make a sketch again. So I will make a sketch. I go flat. I'll make a guide from there up to there. Escape. Finish it up. If I choose it again, you could adjust the behavior of the spline just by dragging these points here. Yeah, it depends on how we would like. Maybe we could cut it later on. Okay. I'm finished with the sketch, so I accept this. Now I would like to make a sketch here in the end of this line here, and I will make a plane right there. So I go for feature, reference geometry, and choose plane. Now I will go for a brand new plane. On that plane we will make a sketch. So I choose the curve, and we need a second reference. I choose the end point there, and it automatically makes it perpendicular. While this brand new plane is still active, we could just choose sketch. So I click sketch. Look at the corner, we're inside a sketch here. So let's go flat into that one. And I will make another elliptic shape here. Maybe a little bit smaller this time. Something like that. So that looks pretty interesting. So let's see what it gives us. We could always go back and adjust this later on. The visibility of this plane here could be turned off. Goodbye. And let's do a solid body. So I go for feature and choose to sweep this one. We could also, instead of sweeping, you could also choose something called lofted. The difference is that lofted jumps from one sketch to another, and swept uses a sketch and follow a sweep curve. If I go for lofted, we need to choose the profiles. So in the blue window, I say that one and that one are those sketches that it should jump between. You also have a green thing here that you could work with. And this one needs to line up, so you could move it along here until you see a preview. We made a curve here, and we could use that as a guide curve. See, if I activate the guide curve window here, I could go for this one. And now it tries to follow that guide curve as well. And it looks good. So if you now accept this and have merge result turned on, it means that everything will be one solid body, the complete Teakettle. So we accept this now. And we start to have a Teakettle. You could always go back here and adjust this later on, or we could also cut this in another angle. So we will leave it for that for the moment. So now we could do something similar for the handle. So if we would like to do a handle here, we will do something similar, but let's go for a sweep instead of a loft. So we will do a sketch inside here, and then we do a curve, a path for that one to sweep along. Okay. Again, we could choose this middle plane here, the right plane, or we could make a brand new plane just by control dragging this a little bit. So if you would like to be a little bit closer to the side of the Teakettle, you could easily make a plane. While it's still active, I go for sketch. We're inside a sketch, and I go normal. So let's do the shape of this handle. And again, I go for elliptic. You could of course do whatever profile you like. Quite big one. Okay, let's try that one. We have a sketch. So now we go for another sketch. There will be a lot of sketches in SolidWorks. I go for the front plane and go for sketch. Look at the corner, we're inside a sketch. So now we will make a profile here. Let's go in the normal direction of the sketch. So I go for a spline, and now it's a little bit tricky to see where this one is, but here it's highlighted. So I will try to connect that one. Go out here a little bit and in again. Escape. Okay, let's adjust this a little bit. Remember that you could also click on the spline and adjust the behavior here. Yeah. Yeah, something like that. Okay, let's see if it works. So I just realized that I have connected on the outside here, and I have a quite strong bend here. So let's see what happens here when we sweep. The plane here, I will hide it just to clean up a little bit, and I go for feature. In this case, I would like to sweep this profile on this path. And it did it. Great. So we could accept that. Okay, that is the handle. It's time to save the file. File, save as. Put it in a folder. In this case, I have a SolidWorks Teakettle folder. and I will name it Teakettle. You could add in your initials as well. Maybe even a version number. Choose save.